Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and in yesterday's video I told you about the Angle Trifold Challenge that we're going to do this month in my Facebook group, and this is the Angle Trifold, and these are the templates that I have in the files section of my Facebook group. So if you're a member there, you can get these templates. If you're not a member, come on over and join us. So for our large trifolds, we have this base, we have this base, and this base. So each size, and then I did medium, and I did small. So all of those are in the files section of the Facebook group. If you come over, if you're not a member of the Facebook group and you'd like to join, be sure when you're requesting to join that you answer the 3 questions that are asked, because if you don't answer the 3 questions, unfortunately, we will have to decline your request to join. It's just our way. Even if I know you, I will be declining requests where all 3 questions are not answered, just because, and that's for the safety of the Facebook group members. Okay, so if you didn't see yesterday's video, this is the Angle Trifold. Made like this. It folds out this way. Then it folds this way, and that is the back. And as I explained yesterday, using the same pieces, there's a gazillion ways to put these together. So the one I'm going to be showing today is pretty much this one. This is probably the simplest layout, and that should get you started. So I'll set that aside, and for this one, I will be using my large bases. So if you print these out, you'll want to cut these out to have your templates, okay? And I've already got mine cut out. So to start with, I'll need large base 1, large base 2, and large base 3. And then I've got large mat 1, 2, and 3 just kind of set over to the side for now. So, got my template. I will want, you'll want some cardstock. For your base, you will probably want something heavier than just paper. So I'm using cardstock, and here I'm using a craft colored cardstock. And very simply, I've just got my template laid down. And I've got my pencil, and I'm going to trace around my template. Okay, so there's my large base 1. Set it aside. And I'm going to pull out my large base 2. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now for this one, I'm not putting it, you could put these at the bottom of your page. On this one, I'm not going to, because I want to show you the easiest way to do this. Where I've got the dotted lines on the template is where you will be scoring. Oh, and of course I moved my template. That's not good. All right. Okay, so while I've still got my template laid down, I'm going to mark at the top. Basically, I'm going to extend my dotted line, and at the bottom. extend my dotted line down there. That way when I pull my template up, I can see where my line is. Then I'm going to take a ruler line the two up, take my scoring tool and just score right down. All right, then that one's ready to be cut out now. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the same thing with my large base 3, only this time I'm going to try not to move it as I'm going around it. Of course, if my thumb's in the way, that doesn't help. Okay, and again, I'm going to mark, extend my dotted line up this way and down at the bottom, same thing. As I explained yesterday, Maddie at Spectrum Art Creations is the one that introduced me to these, and she had a private class, but she is working on doing a tutorial to put on her YouTube channel, and as soon as that is up, I believe she said it would be a couple of weeks, but as soon as that is up, I will link that in the Facebook group, because she's made a whole lot more of these than I have, so her tutorial will be much better. Okay, so that's all the scoring we will need to do. And now we're ready to cut out our, what we've traced. Now, you can do this with scissors. Excuse me. As you know, I like to use my paper trimmer anytime I can. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But you can use your scissors. No big deal, just cut on your lines and get all 3 of your pieces cut out. I'm going to pause the video while I do this. Now for my angle, when I'm using my paper trimmer, I just line my angle up with the cutting line on my trimmer, and that does fine for me. Okay, so I will pause the video and finish cutting these out, and then I will come right back. Okay, so I got my 3 base pieces cut out, and I did go ahead and ink around the edges on both sides. That is not necessary. Excuse me. Not necessary, but it's something I like to do. So now I'm going to take the 2 pieces where I made the score lines, and I'm going to go ahead and fold my score lines. Now, the only thing I did not ink because I had not scored was I did not ink right on this edge, so I'm going to do that real quick on the outside and the inside of my score line. Okay, got that one. And I've got that one. Okay. Then the next thing you'll want to do is figure out how you want to lay these out. And on this one, I laid them out very simply where base, this is base 1, so base 2 is on top of it this way, and then base 3 is on top of that, going this direction. I think just to do something a little different, this time I will put this base going this direction and this base going this direction. And the only reason really that I'm doing that is to show you they're really, even though I'm doing the exact same thing, I'm just changing it up a little bit. Using the same pieces. So on this one, the only difference it makes is which way my score line is folded. Okay, so before I do anything else, I've decided this is how I want my layout to be. So I'm going to get everything lined up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm using art glitter glue, but you can use whatever adhesive you would like. And I'm going to glue my hinge down. Just like that. So now that has created that hinge, okay? And then this one, my hinge is right here. I'm going to put it over this edge, line it up. Oh, that's not lined up. There we go. And glue this one down. You can either use glue, you can use double-sided tape, whatever your adhesive choice is. All right. So now the base of our angle trifold is made. Okay? So the next thing we've got to do is figure out what we're going to decorate it with. And I'm going to be using papers. I'm trying to use up some paper pads that I've got. This is Safe Freeze Craft Smart from Michaels that I got a year or two or so ago. And it's almost gone. So I'm going to try to use up a little more of it. And I'm going to need my mats, my mat pieces, 1, 2, and 3. And I had kind of gone through and decided what I was going to use where. Okay. So I've got this piece, and I'm going to use my large mat for it. And since this one doesn't have any scoring, there's no reason that I can't just line it up at the edge of the paper. Need to be sure I can see that. Okay, so I've got that one marked, and that will go here. So I'm going to pull out my trimmer. There. Cut that there. And that will be my mat right there. At least so I think. I'm just paper clipping it right now until I know for certain. And I didn't do a very good job. I might want to redo that. As you'll see, when I was cutting it, I wasn't paying attention to where I was putting it. So I've got the bottom of a snowman right there. And I might prefer... Yeah, I'm going to redo that. Might prefer to have an actual snowman instead of just the bottom of a snowman. So I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to cut it again. So you will want to pay attention to where you cut to be sure you get the part of the paper that you want. And I knew that, but I was so focused on just getting it cut that I wasn't paying attention to that. So then, that's better. So now we have an actual snowman peeking out up here. Okay, so then for, I think I'll use this one. So large mat 2. I'll use the snowflakes. And it won't really matter since it's just a repetitive design. It won't really matter where I cut it. Okay, so got that one. And then that can go right there. And for this one, I'm going to use the red trucks. Now, the one thing to look at is where it says large mat 3, has the angle going the wrong way. So when I trace it, I'll actually need to flip it over so that my angle is going correctly. So that is something to just be aware of. Let's see, I'm going to scoot that over some to be sure that I get a full red truck. So again, I'm paying a little bit of attention to what's on the page and what I want to be seen on my paper. And if I'd bumped this one up to the edge, I would have had... Okay, I'm going to leave that one since I moved my paper after I drew this line. Instead of trying to line it back up, I'll just cut that with my trimmer. But if I'd done it at the edge, I wouldn't have had a complete red truck. So at least by moving it, I at least get one complete red truck on it. All right. So we'll go there. Actually, I probably need to do it this way first. That. That, and then make my angle cut. Okay. So then that will go on the front. Okay. Now I need to go through and I need to make one for this side and for this side and for the back. So I'm going to pause the camera while I cut the rest of these out, and then I will ink around them, and then I will come back. Okay, I cut out and inked around all of my mats for each of the 6 sides. Okay, and this is what I've got, and then flip it over, and on this side, we have the craft color. So when it's folded up, that is what we will have. Now, one thing, and I wish I'd had the camera rolling, but when I went to do this one, I had my paper out and picked up my mat, and for whatever reason, I set it down like this. So this is what I got. Well, obviously that will not work. So my suggestion would be, when you are cutting your mats, lay the mat on the side that you're on, the panel that you're doing, and then pick it up and just slide it over to your paper. That way you be sure to get it cut in the correct direction. So if I were cutting a white piece to go here, I would want it to go over just like that. So that's just my cautionary tale. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to glue each of my panels down, but for, let me pick this up, my back panel. My back panel I am not going to glue down yet. Everything else, I'm going to go ahead, oh, I've got that folded the wrong way. let's try that again. My card folds this way. I'm having a difficult time today, guys. Okay. So take 2 on that. I'm going to glue all of my panels down, but for the back panel, which in this case is this panel. So just to prevent me from messing that up again, I'm going to move it off and up to the side. So, very simply, I will just take my glue or whatever adhesive I'm going to use. Again, double-sided tape will work perfectly on this. I'm just using my glue because I've got it handy. And before you glue things down, for this one I'm not doing it, but you might want to decide, for example, if you wanted to leave this one as a pocket right here or as a side tuck, you would want to take that into account in your gluing. So if you wanted to leave it as a side tuck, you would only glue here, here, and here. Or if you wanted to leave it as a top pocket, you would only glue the 2 sides and the bottom. Okay, so again, I'm going to, all of mine, except for the back one, I'm going to glue straight down, just like I did on this one, just to keep things kind of the same so I can show you what I've done on this one. So then I will glue these down and then once again be right back. Okay, so I glued my panels down. All 3 of those, both of those, and the only one left is the one on the back. But before I put it down, I'm going to take a piece of ribbon. This is just some seam binding. And I'm going to put it down for my tie closure. And you'll have to be careful because you may not be able to go exactly center, although on this one, eight and a half, 4 1/4, 4 1/4, so halfway would put it right at the top of this. So you could go center, but I'm probably going to move mine down just a little bit so it doesn't catch that very corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little mark here, and I'm just going to put mine at 4 1/2. That way it'll be just below the center. And I'm going to run, uh-oh, my glue stopped up. There we go. Run a line of glue. Across there. And I've got far too much seam binding here, but I prefer starting with too much than too little. So I'm just going to glue that down. Now, what I'm going to do for the back of mine is, for my back panel, before I put it down, I am going to make a pocket that will only go down to about here. I don't want it to go beneath the seam binding. So I'm going to put a little thumb hole in the center here, and I've already marked the center of this. So just put a little thumb hole there. ink that up. And mark that so that I know that's about the level at which I want my glue to go. So on the bottom part, I'm just going to put glue all over. And again, this could be done with seam binding, double-sided tape, anything you want. And then up here, I'm just going to go up the side and up this side. All right. Oops. And now I can place my back panel down, and that way my pocket will only go down to about here, so it will not interfere. No tag or anything will get caught on the seam binding, so everything will stay more secure. Okay. So now that's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead for just a second. I'm going to tie this off. Basically, I want to cut off my excess seam binding so I can use it. So I'm going to cut that at about there, and that right there. Okay. Then, let's see. I'm going to start here, and I've got this little piece from my scrapbook paper pad, and I'm just going to put that right there as a little pocket. So now at this point, I'm just sort of decorating my trifold. So while I'm doing that, I want to let you know, if you're taking part in the challenge in my Facebook group, please, I told you yesterday to be entered in. You can make up to 10 tags for 10 entries into the drawing for a $10 Spectrum Art Creations gift certificate. And when you're posting your tags in the designated place, please mark them as tag 1, tag 2, so on and so forth, all the way up to tag 10. Just, I will be looking for all of the tags, but just kind of as a way to basically help me out. That way, if I've only got you down for 4 and you're saying tag 7, then I will know I need to look for 3 more of your tags. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this little piece into a little tag to slide in here, and I'll put a topper on that in just a moment. And I've got all sorts of little bit pieces here, and maybe we'll just put that in as a little card. All right, that works. So I think what I will do is, here it is, use my Crop-A-Dile and put a little eyelet in that, and then I will use a piece of the seam binding to put through the top of that. And of course, the eyelet is not necessary. I just like the way they look. Okay. And see if this little piece of seam binding will work. All right, I need something to help push that through. There we go. Paper clip to the rescue. Well, maybe. Come on, seam binding, cooperate. Okay, honestly, this piece of seam binding is smaller than what I would normally use for this, but I really want to try to use this instead of cutting another piece. If I can convince my fingers to work with me. All right. Let's do this the smarter way. Let's twist it up. I will get this. Now you're seeing me be stubborn, which normally I save for when I'm off camera. Ha. Gotcha, you little bugger. All right, so just a little bitty tag topper on there. That one I think I'll leave blank because that would make for some decent journaling space. You could easily write across the design there. There, I haven't decided what to do here. Neither of those is super good writing space, but I also don't know that I want to completely. Pictures could go there or something. So could do something like that. I'll do a bigger rounded corner on that. I'm going to ink that up. And then I think I'm actually going to, if I can find my little foam sticky things, I'll put some of those on here, and I'll just pop this up a little bit. Just to give it a little extra something. All right. Little extra depth and dimension. So like that. What am I going to do on the front? Ooh. Okay, let's go over to the back first. I've got this piece of scrapbook paper that I cut to 2.5 inches to make a tag, and I'm going to mark it a little bit so I'll have an idea of where to cut it. I'm going to mark it about right there. So it's going to be a short tag, but I knew that because I filled in a good bit of that pocket space. So cut that off. And I'm going to use my little tag punch. This is Paper Studio from Hobby Lobby. Punch that little tag and ink it up. Oh, I forgot to round the bottom corners. I like rounding the bottom corners of my tags just because it helps keep them from getting a little bent up and stuff when they're going in and out of pockets. Okay, and then I put an eyelet in the other one, so I think I'll pop an eyelet in this one. That, and where'd that other piece of ribbon go? This piece of ribbon appears to be a little longer, and the eyelet I used is a little larger, so this one ought to be a little easier to get through, but we'll see. All right. Trim. Oops. Come on. There we go. Okay. So then we'll just pop a little tag in there. Still a hair shade taller than I would like. Oh, that's because I didn't have it tucked in all the way. There we go. All right. I like that better. So just like that. And I keep looking at this thinking, well, it's the back. It doesn't really need anything. And yet, no. I keep wanting to put just a bit of something back there, so I'm going to. And this one I'm not going to pop up just because it's going to be on the back outside. All right, so just a little something there, but you still have lots of room to do some journaling if somebody wanted to. Okay. So I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. But I'd kind of like to have something on here. The problem is I don't really want to cover up my red trucks. So, but I may have to. Okay, so if I have the ribbon there, something like that, it will be tied better, but I could, let's see. Could put something like that, Merry and Bright right there. What if I were to put... no, I don't like that. Maybe that's what I do, just put Merry and Bright at the bottom and just leave the top truck showing. Should I pop that up a little bit? Why not? Why not? Okay. The other thing, sorry, I keep dragging it out, but if you're doing the challenge or if you're not doing the challenge, if you just decide to make some of these, please go over to Spectrum Art Creations Facebook group, which will be linked below. Join their Facebook group and post your Angle Trifold makes there. I know Maddie would love to see what everyone's doing with these. So, okay. So, I'm going to call this one now. Still something's screaming at me to put right there, but I don't know what at this moment. So, I'm going to leave it alone for right now. Okay, so here's our Angle Trifold card. And I made this one pretty simply, but you can see I've got pockets with some extra stuff, some journaling space, just a little pop-up here and here, place for pictures or whatever here on the back, extra space for tag. So this is, like I said, a very simple one, but I would love to see your creations. And as the month goes along, I will be making more, but I wanted to give you something to start with. And just play with these templates and see what you can come up with. They are so fun to make and play with. And just that quickly and easily, you've got a completed little project that could be used as an insert for your journal. It could be used as a greeting card. It could be used for anything you want it to be. As a not a caution, just to let you know, in my Facebook group, the event is going to show up as being December 16th through December 30th. And that's because Facebook will only allow me to do a 2-week online event. But it is open now. It is going now. You can post in the event. It's going to show those dates, and there's nothing I can, or at least nothing that I have found that I can do about that. So that's it for today, guys. Until next time, I wish you all a wonderfully happy, crafty day, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.